As our series has explored, there are many key elements that come together to make a Queen show the greatest live experience. However, from the very beginning, Brian, Roger, Freddie and John all recognised there was one aspect of every live show that was absolutely crucial to its success. And that's the fans. There is no question that the bond between Queen and their audience has become a truly special one, and is clearly something that the band have always treasured.
It's hard to know what we have that other people don't have. I think that's a difficult question to answer. I think we have a very personal relationship with the audience. We don't get lost in being gods, the costumes and the lights, and we're still pretty human, and we like the interaction. I think that's something which is perhaps a little different from us.
I think Brian always cites that place in Stafford, Bingley Hall, yeah. It's great. The audience were incredibly vocal. They just loved singing. And we suddenly, this is brilliant. The whole place felt like it was one person singing a song at the tops of their voices. And this is a wonderful feeling, and we should involve the audience. And the one thing we weren't was a shoegazing. I mean, I remember some bands, the guitar player might even face the back. It's just rude. I'm much too cool to. It's great. No, it's a great phrase, shoegazing. And that's what they were. They were so cool. All playing Fender Jaguars for some reason. Terrible guitar. Terrible guitar. I don't know why anybody would play that guitar. It's thin, reedy sounding. For thin, reedy bands, I suppose.
Glimpse of hope and unity, and visions of one sweet union.
So having embraced the audience as an integral part of the show, the band soon discovered the crowd could actually offer more than just helping to create an atmosphere on the night.
Part of this evolution that I was talking about is dependent on how the audience reacts. So if you put a new song in there and you get a great reaction, you get reinforced and you think, yeah, we'll do that again next night. If you put a new song in, different song, and the audience are like, yeah, okay, you don't have that impetus, so generally it won't last very long. So the audience are fashioning what we play, and I think they know that. And I'm not saying you always have to give them what they want. Sometimes you have to. You want to surprise people, but you get to know what is going to work and what isn't. And of course, you go for the things which produce a good reaction, whether it's a happy reaction or a sad reaction or whatever. But some kind of reaction, you look for that. And you look for the points where you know you've connected, you know you've had an emotional response.
Thanks a lot. It seemed really like a party here tonight. Thanks a lot for making it really something for us. It's felt a lot different. We've taken our show around the world, but we've never got to so many people all at once. And it's felt really good. Thanks a lot for giving us a good year. We'd like to leave you in the lap of the gods.
But in the early years, as Queen blazed the trail of encouraging audience participation, they found some venues were not at all keen at the idea of a crowd becoming so involved.
Well, in some countries, authoritarian countries, I mean, like in England, it used to be in the 70s, the dreaded bouncers. As soon as anybody stood up, sit down, they'd come in. And we just used to encourage them to riot. It was terrible. You can sit in your seat, but you can't have fun. It was pathetic. England in the 70s was horrible, really. It was a pretty awful place, actually.
Everybody!
Thankfully, Queen didn't give up on their commitment to encourage the fans to participate.
It's nice to encourage people to be free. And that's what we like. That's why we really don't like seated audiences anymore either. Not in the front. I mean, you can be seated around the side, All the old people can go there, like me. But where the energy is on the floor, where the kids can, and thank God we have kids. You know, we have people, such young crowds very often going around everywhere in the world, and that's where they can get to the front. Depending on how keen they are, they'll get very close to the front, and they'll make a noise and they'll give us reaction, which is what we need to function. So if you take that away, it's much harder to create the atmosphere. You go on to a GA audience, as we call it, general admission, where people stand and they queue up for ages, right, to come in. So the whole floor will be people standing, and they want it. They are there and they're going to have it, and they will give it back to you the same as they want it given to them. That's what we love. It's always been that way. A seated audience kind of feels intimidated. They have to sit there like this, and there's a bouncer telling them not to stand up. That's not rock and roll. That's not the way it should be.
And on the rare occasion where a crowd did seem reluctant to let their hair down, Queen did have a secret weapon.
Oh, Freddie was incredible at getting. He could just go, come on, you know, and then everybody would get up. And some people can do that, and a lot of people can't.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay.